Why your business is getting no sales. Hey, what's going on? My name is Tim. I'm one of the co-founders here at Scary Good Marketing. We help take the fear out of marketing and advertising your business using battle-tested strategies and creativity to bring you a better ROI. And if you have been wondering why your business is not getting any sales, well, I'm going to share with you the most common reasons we find when we're working with our clients, or we're evaluating companies, or companies are coming to us to see if we can work with them. These are the common threads that we find across the board. Doesn't really matter what industry, niche, whether you're an online business, offline business, local business, doesn't matter. A lot of times when it comes to you not getting sales, these are really the common things. So the very first question that I always ask when somebody comes to us and they say that they are not getting sales is, how many people did you ask to buy from you today? Because the reality is a lot of people just don't ask enough people to buy from them. There's this weird sense of that you don't want to feel salesy, you don't want to do that. And I'm not saying going and maybe physically talking to somebody, right? I'm not always talking about, going and knocking on doors, but with that, how many opportunities did you give people to buy from you, right? Have you advertising that's going out? Did you post anything on your social media pages? Did you go and talk with people about what your products and services are, right? That's really the big thing. Companies that do really well, that continuously get sales, is because they're consistently going out there and asking people to buy from them and putting their products and services out there. And that's why if you're really struggling to get sales, I just want you to think and really think about it. How many people did you ask to buy from you today? And if the answer is none or not very many, then maybe you should increase the amount of people you ask to buy from you. And really reflect on this. I think that this is probably one of the biggest ones, is think of how many people last year you asked to buy from you, and did you actually increase that at all this year? Now, number two is, how many of the non-sexy things when it comes to entrepreneurship have you actually done? Because let's face it, you have probably been told, and I know that we've talked about it here on the channel, doing email marketing. How many emails have you actually written? How many email automations have you actually done? Have you gone out and maybe made those changes that you needed to do on your website? How many ads have you actually run and set up and done? How much customer research have you actually done, right? All these things tend to be the not as exciting parts of being an entrepreneur, right? When you started your business, you probably were thinking about the freedom and all this kind of stuff, and not some of the day-to-day things, some of the what I call non-sexy entrepreneur things that you kind of need to do, right? And that's really the big thing. Really sit down and think about what are the things that you have kind of been putting off, right? You need to start doing those things. And now number three is, how much stuff are you actually tracking? Because a lot of businesses that we go into and we work with, really where we find there's a big gap is they either aren't tracking anything at all, or they don't know what to track in their business. And anything that you can't track, measure, can never really improve, right? Because if you don't know where you currently are, how do you know where you need to go to improve, right? That's why you should be not just tracking, hey, we have 10,000 people that visited our website this month, and only 5 out of those 10,000 actually converted, right? How much A/B testing are you doing on your website? Are you testing and tracking how many people are coming through your contact form? Are you figuring out and tracking how they actually even heard of you in the first place? Are you doing any kind of tracking, data research on how many times that they visited your website before they even contacted you, right? Are you seeing how much content they consumed before any of that, right? Are you tracking any of these things? Because without tracking, you can't measure, and the things that you can't measure, you can't improve on. And this goes across the board in everything, right? Track everything that you're doing, right? Even the things that you're doing every single day, go and track every 15 minutes, right? And this may sound crazy, but if you're not tracking anything, right, how are you spending your time during your day? Are you just doing tasks that maybe aren't going to help drive the needle forward? Well, if you're not tracking that, you can't improve. So really think about, are you actually tracking things in your business? Number 4, and this one is a big one, how complacent are you currently in your business? One of the worst things that I believe that any business owner can say is, I've been in the business for 20-something years, but your website still looks like it's from 1992. That is very, very bad, because the thing is, it does not matter how many years you've been in business. It matters how much progression you are consistently going after. That's why I tell people your website is not a one and done. If you haven't updated your website in a year, you are falling behind. I believe that your website should be at least updated once a year. If not, it should probably be more consistent than that. Sometimes it may even be on a monthly basis, because a lot of brands and a lot of companies that do really well in sales, they're consistently changing things on their website. They're consistently updating things. They're consistently testing things. And if you have not even updated your website in a year, that's probably why you're not seeing the sales. And if you haven't updated your website in a year, have you gone through and updated your emails? Have you gone through and done any updates to certain marketing campaigns, advertising campaigns? Or are you doing the exact same thing every single day and just expecting there to magically be different results? Now, my thing is, don't change things, like don't try something once, it didn't work, and then immediately change it. No, you want to refine it. You want to give everything enough time to actually make those calls, but complacency is something I see way too often, and I think one of the big things is complacency in the product and service that you're selling and how you're selling it, and the offer you're putting behind that product and service. Because, like I said, complacency kills so many things in business and just in your life in general. So a good example of complacency is if you consistently use the exact same discount every single time that you talk to your customers. This is going to kill your sales, because whatever that discount is, and if you've run the exact same discount consistently for, I would even say, more than a week to 2 weeks, that now becomes the norm. So let's say that you have a product and you consistently advertise a 15% discount. Now all of your products, your services, are worth 15% less in your customer's mind, because that is the new price. And if you consistently do that, now your products have become devalued, right? The exact same thing. If you consistently run the same kind of Black Friday deal, you run the exact same 4th of July deal, you run all of those all the same, then complacency is going to kill your sales. It's going to kill your conversions. And we see this so common in a lot of businesses. So stop being complacent and really start going out there and looking at what you're doing and start refining on it and trying new things. Look at what other people are doing in completely different industries than you and see, can you take something that somebody's doing in a completely different industry and be innovative enough to take that concept and that idea and bring it to your marketplace. That's what you need to do. And now number 5 is, have you actually reverse engineered what success looks like for you? Because a lot of the times whenever I get into a conversation with somebody and they say, well, I want to make $10,000 a month, or I want to do $100,000 a month in our company, or 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, right? Or we want to do XYZ thing. A lot of the times I ask them, okay, great. Let's just say $10,000 a month. Fantastic. At $10,000 a month, how many people need to buy your core product? Like, well, I don't really know. I haven't thought about that. And I'm like, well, how can you get to $10,000 if you don't even know how many customers you need every single month consistently to hit that goal, right? And that's the whole thing is I'm like, how many do you need? And if you don't even know that, how can you really think that you're going to hit that $10,000 goal, right? This is the thing is you need to reverse engineer it, right? $10,000, I don't look at things as like, hey, we want $10,000 a month. I'm like, great, how many customers consistently every single month do we need to have coming in the door, right? The same thing, what kind of product do you have? Is it a one-off product? Is it a product that people are going to buy every single month? Are they going to buy it every 2 months, 3 months? Right? You need to start looking at all those things so you can really get a good gauge, because if you don't know these things and you're not reverse engineering what that actually looks like, you don't have metrics, you don't have those goals that you are working towards. And if you don't have something that you're working towards, or at least an idea, then how do you know that you're going to get there? How do you know, right? You think you're going to magically open your bank account and, hey, we have $10,000 now a month. And that's not going to help you, right? Because sometimes that could just be, the pie in the sky vision, but if you're not kind of breaking it down and having those metrics, and this I think is one of the big differences when we work with smaller businesses that are starting out and kind of getting there, and even the ones that start to see success, is because they're taking this and they're really looking at these numbers, right? And this kind of goes back to tracking, right? And then with some of the bigger companies that we've worked with, they look at a lot of this stuff, right? They consistently track how many new customers did we bring in, and then out of those new customers, what is our average churn rate, right? And then with those, what is our average order value? Right? And then we also look at things like, what is the lifetime value of a customer? How can we extend the lifetime value of a customer? Or if we can't extend the lifetime value of a customer, how do we get more customers to buy more from you in that initial transaction? Right? How do we do all of that? Right? And these are all those things that you need to start looking at, because if you don't know these things, like I said, if you don't know, you can't measure it, you can't track it, and if you can't do those things, you can't consistently grow. Now, what do you do to really negate these pitfalls? Well, we have something that we call the SCARE framework, and I believe that every business should really adopt this type of thinking and this type of mindset. Like I said, this is what we do in our business, whether we are working with a client or it's just the stuff that we do internally in our company. And the SCARE framework stands for strategy, creativity, application, refinement, and execution. Because if you implement these things, you're going to consistently be moving forward, because you're taking the strategies that you know, you're taking some of the creativity, you're taking all of that, you're actually applying it, and then whatever comes back out, you go and you continue to refine on it, and then you go back and you continue to execute on it. Because if you don't do those things, you're really never going to see the results that you want in your business. So I hope that the SCARE framework really helps shift things and gets you excited about it. And the funny thing is the reason why we went with SCARE is because a lot of the times when you are afraid of doing something, you're scared to go in and do that kind of thing, it's probably because it's the right choice for you to go and do. Because if you think about it, probably when you started your business, you were a little afraid to start your own business. You were afraid of what are people going to think? Am I going to actually be able to go and do this? What happens if it doesn't work? All these things, but you're still pushing through that, right? And the way you do that is through strategy, creativity, application, refinement, and execution. So I hope that you can go out and start doing these things. And if you have any of those 5 things, like I said, just remember the SCARE framework and use that to help you move forward, right? Because like I said, this is really the common thread that we see when you're not getting sales. So that's pretty much what I have for you today. Thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.